There's always a cause. We have to open our eyes. We have to look around us. Don't get overwhelmed, but be strategic and do something about it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're trying to help by providing the information, the statistics, and the discussion about the solutions.
We are constantly publishing content with valuable information just like this. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the All-In Nutritionals podcast.
We want to encourage you to share and subscribe to our podcast. And we encourage you to tune in as much as possible. Really, the purpose of this podcast is to inform and educate people because we all believe that knowledge is power. And we believe when you have knowledge, you can be strategic with your health. So every time you tune in, you can expect to get really good information, really good education, and really good resources for your health, right?
Yep, knowledge is power, especially if you implement it.
Exactly. So today, I'm pretty excited. We have an important guest, and I think that this is a guy that you're going to be seeing a lot of. We have Weston Horne. He is our newest member. Yay! He's our newest member to the All-In family. So we welcome you.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with both of you.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here. We're glad that you are officially here. So we're going to kind of learn a little bit about the transition and your journey to get here to Springfield, Ohio, where you came from and everything. But Weston is a highly experienced health practitioner, and he's going to be taking a very active role here at All-In and working directly with Lindsay. So again, welcome. And we kind of just want to give everybody an intro as to who you are. Some people that, follow All-In may recognize you and may already know, but for those people who don't, can you give a little intro and some of your background?
Yeah, sure. So for the last 14 years, I've been in private practice. So I'm a natural health practitioner. That's largely two things that I focused on while I've been in private practice, and that is structural integration, which is basically an alignment therapy focused on proper movement, corrective tissue alignment, function of the human body, getting people out of chronic pain, chronic ailments. And then the second thing that I largely focused on in my private practice and still do today is herbal nutrition. And so working a lot with people from a nutritional standpoint and a functional herbal standpoint. So my history goes back, to me being sick as a kid. I think a lot of people that get into the natural health world struggled with different health issues.
Can relate to that.
Yeah, much like Lindsay.
Yeah.
And my mom was a nurse, and when there was no answers left in the medical world, she said, we go and see our friend Tisha. So Tisha, who became a good friend of mine later on, was a nurse who was also a master herbalist. And so she got me my start in the healthy world, which then I circled back to that eventually, mentored with her, got some real education behind me, dove into this world.
I think it's interesting because you have a similar background. And even if I think about like what got me interested into, natural health, it's like we all have these pain points that we reach, and we're not getting, any relief from like maybe traditional, ways of handling it. And so we kind of go searching. It leads you to this search. So I know Lindsay can definitely relate to that.
Yeah. No question about it. I started at a very, very young age. I think when I started my search, I was 17, 16 or 17. And the drugs which were very strong back then, and the medical profession just had no answers for me. And it's not like they were trying to do anything wrong. They just had no answers. There was no solution to the laundry list of problems that I had. So I said, one day I realized it's only one person going to fix this, and that's me.
Yeah, absolutely. Another similarity I think that you guys have, so you had an extensive, background and history working with Bernard Jensen. So really a pioneer of the health industry. You have some history with John Christopher and his family and his teaching. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So the woman who I went to, who was an herbalist, she mentored me and kind of taught me for a year. And then she said, you're going to have to go and get formal education, because even though you know how to help people, you're working with individuals, people like to see the credentials. They like to see more formal stuff. And I agree with that. People should have a formal education and then gain lots of experience in practice working one-on-one with folks. So I was working doing structural integration, and my wife actually is in sports medicine, and she was training at the University of Utah, and she said, I've got a couple athletes that we're just not getting the results we want to see with. Would you come up and work with them? And I said, yeah, absolutely. That would be really fun. And I've always worked with athletes. I myself am a runner. I love working with active people. So I went up there and I was working with an athlete, and her name was Ginger. And I said, I love your name. Ginger is an incredible herb. And she goes, well, yeah, my parents gave it to me. And I said, oh, really? I go, I'm taking herbal training. And she goes, oh, well, my parents have this talk show. They talk about herbs. You should tune in. And I said, well, what are their names? And she said, David and Fawn Christopher. And I said, like Dr. Christopher? And she goes, yeah, he's my grandpa. I said, oh my gosh, okay. So Ginger and I became friends.
Yeah.
Of course, I got to know then David Christopher and Fawn, who to this day run the School of Natural Healing.
Wow.
And so the cool thing that they've done is they've really preserved the history of Dr. Christopher. But I got to work with them one-on-one. I got to listen to the audios of Dr. Christopher, take his courses, learn his methods, and then kind of see how that's really evolved into modern day. When Christopher was alive, we didn't have herbs that were shipping in from all over the world. We didn't have even a lot of capsulation or powdering of products, right? It was teas, it was alcohol extracts. So it's, I think, really important to have a traditional herbal standpoint. And then my research brought that into kind of modern day methods and modern day application.
Yeah.
Dr. Christopher died in, was it 82 or 83?
83.
83.
Yeah. But he really brought herbal medicine to the Western Hemisphere in a big way, especially the Western United States, same time as, Bernard Jensen and others.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that has always attracted me to Weston is if you look at and most people in the natural products industry don't understand the lineage, where it comes from. If you go back to Isaac Jennings or Dr. John R. Christopher or Bernard Jensen or Herbert Shelton or
hygienic system.
Or Arnold de Veers. I mean, Pavlov Areola. I mean, all of these people, these were the founding fathers and mothers of this entire, now multi-trillion-dollar natural health movement. And we were both, blessed to study with either the sons and daughters or the actual people. And so that's something that I think is extremely potent, extremely valuable, and it's our job to make sure that knowledge not just continues, but goes into all of the products that we create. It's our duty to do that.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I think it's actually the perfect segue too for you guys to tell everybody a little bit of your history, because you guys have known each other for a long time. I mean, I've known you for a long time, but you guys, let's talk about that. How did you meet? What's the history? What's the background? I was actually just pulling up some old pictures yesterday.
I sent you some old pictures.
And I think we're going to put some.
We're going to include them, in the podcast.
Good. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, we were part of a company that had this incredible raw chia seed open product, and it was being bought out at the time by one of Lindsay's companies, and they said, "Oh, this great guy, Lindsay Duncan," and I said, "Who the heck is that?" And
Dr. Lindsay.
Dr. Lindsay Duncan, right? And I said, "Oh, great, a doctor. We're being bought out by a doctor. I don't know if I want anything to do with that."
Right.
And my wife and I were actually going on a road trip, and I said, well, let's listen into him. They had an hour and a half audio of him talking about health. And I said, let's listen in and see what it's about. Well, 30 minutes into that road trip, my wife pauses the audio and says, this guy's talking about poop. And this guy's talking about digestive function and slippery elm and the digestive tract and healing the lining. She goes, I've never heard anyone talk about that other than you before.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, and he actually is accurate in everything that he's saying.
Yeah.
He's speaking it well, and to be honest, I'm learning something as we're going about this. So immediately he had piqued my interest when we went through that. And then it just so happened that he was coming to speak in Salt Lake City. So we attended it. We heard him speak. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then short after, he said, I'm going to be bringing on some people to mentor with me. And just struck me in my heart. I said, I need to apply for that. Because I'd had some incredible mentors up to that point and wasn't mentoring with anybody at that point. And I felt like that was a big part of learning, is that you've got the school, you've got the practice, but then distilling from somebody who's been at it for 20, 30,
almost 40.
Almost 40 now, years.
Yeah.
What do they take away? How can I take that in, use that and apply it?
Right.
And there were several hundred people that applied, maybe 1,000, that applied for that
nutrition class.
to be in the nutrition class. And so
that.
I picked Weston as one of the maybe 10 or 12 people because I recognized very early on, that he was onto something that was not just unique in his philosophy, but was deeper.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't a practitioner, or he wasn't somebody that was out helping people that was chasing symptoms. He was always going deeper. What's causing the symptom? What's causing the problem? And that's one of the main reasons why I said he belongs in the class.
Yeah. And so the pictures that we're going to include in the podcast. So
he looks really young. Yeah.
I was going to say, how old were you so you're
23.
11 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
23.
It's just a baby.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So, because we would have the classes.
I was only 3 or 4 years into practice at that time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. We would have the classes at different locations. And we went to Hawaii the one time.
Austin.
All kinds
Dallas.
of different locations. But it was, and I remember Lindsay, and I'm not just saying this, so I'm not, but I legitimately remember you talking about Weston and kind of saying there's something about him, he's a little ahead, he's just got that deeper knowledge base, know.
And I think the honesty and the integrity
Very
just kind
genuine.
of oozes out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
So you guys have stayed in touch, because that was 10 or 11 years ago. The nutrition class ended.
Yep.
You guys have stayed in touch kind of over Facebook and texting a little bit here and there.
And calls.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to force anything. I think we really took our time and said, if we're going to do something together, let's do it right.
Right.
Yep.
So let's bridge the gap a little bit from there to now. So where are we at now? What's going on now? I mean, obviously I know, but let's tell everybody what your role in All-In Nutritionals is. We've got some bottles on the table. We're going to talk about your brand, because you have your own brand, Agapē Herbals. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I, as a practitioner, have been looking at the science, looking at the research, and diving deep into formulation my whole time in practice. And a lot of that was to what Lindsay was speaking about earlier, which was researching and trying to find root cause. What's going on? Why is everyone coming in with gut issues? Why is everyone coming in with yeast? Why is everyone coming in with viruses and infections and all this different stuff in their body? And that quickly led me to, well, there's actually really effective things for this.
Yeah.
And people can get a lot better in a short amount of time if they're taking the right things. But then people would bring me stuff back, and it was full of fillers, it was full of excipients and flow agents and dyes and sugar and garbage. And so Agapē was born out of not really me wanting to start a supplement company. It was really there's no one else doing it. And my wife would hear me say year after year, no, someone's going to do it. I can't be the only one understanding the history and the science and the formulation. Someone else will do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And then when COVID happened, it gave me time. I actually had to close my practice for a bit by law. I had to sit down and I said, I can get some of these formulas that I've been working on for a long time out, and I can start producing them. Of course, I had to start producing them in-house because no one would do it to the cleanliness and the purity and the potency that I wanted. And very shortly after that, Lindsay launched All-In Nutritionals. And I thought that was great because I was like, more access for my clients, more access for the people I'm helping. A lot of people, I think, would look at that as a competitor, but I reached out right as soon as he announced it. And I said, congratulations. Like, what can I help with?
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I'm loving it. This is stuff that I'm going to be able to use in my practice as well.
Right.
And myself, right away, there's clean access to supplements. So over those couple of years, we had, I think, a lot of discussions about how can we work together? How's this going to work? And eventually we realized basically we were doing the same thing. I was just at a very different scale than you guys were.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, because you've got, and this is a hard thing to make happen, because he has his wife and his children and his life and his family and his wife's family. Everybody is in Salt Lake City, Utah, or the Salt Lake City surrounding areas for the most part, and your family. Is that correct?
Yeah, predominantly. Everyone's there.
Yeah.
And so here we are in Springfield, Ohio, a place I don't think you'd ever been before in your life, right?
Not till a few months ago when we came to sit down together.
Right.
And so how do you go from moving your entire family and your business and everything to a very far away place that you've never been to? And so that's it's a tall order.
Right.
And so after really good, open, honest communication and what is it that you want, what is it that we need, I think we came to a consensus that we would be better if we were working together.
Yeah.
And so and he's now able to focus on what really motivates him, which from my understanding is putting together the plant medicines that help human beings the most in the quickest amount of time with no side effects.
Yeah.
And so that's what he does for us. I mean, now he's in charge of initiating a lot of new products and a lot, and we're not. It's not like his company Agapē is merging and is part of what we're doing. And are we making Agapē go away? And is it going to become All-In Nutritionals? No, absolutely not. Agapē is just going to get supercharged. Agapē there'll be more products in the line. There'll be more inertia. There'll be more investment. There'll be more energy. There'll be more resources. So Agapē will become this incredible brand. It already is, just very few people know about it.
Yeah.
But it will flourish. It will become just very expansive, very well known, and very well respected brand, along with All-In Nutritionals.
So I was going to say, so when people go like on the All-In website, they'll see Agapē Herbals right there with the All-In products. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, and if you think about it, I mean, just think about it. Why would there's how often am I approached by someone to buy their company?
I was going to bring up that point. So, and I think you should speak to that because, just so people understand I think you both have this with each other, the trust and the credibility that you see in each other, because you have been approached over the years several times. I mean, more than I can count.
Dozens of times
of people bringing products or wanting to kind of work with you, and I'm sure you've had opportunities as well.
Yeah.
And not that there haven't been good opportunities or people that have brought great things to us, but it's never been quite the right fit. And I feel like it would just speak to that. Like, why was Weston and his product line the right fit for All-In, and vice versa?
So for me, there's three primary reasons. One is I've known him for now 11 years.
Yeah.
He was a student in the class, and I trust him 100%. So that's number one. You got to check that box, or then the rest don't matter.
Yeah.
Number two, he's one of the very few people on the planet that truly understands how to formulate. So a lot of people go, ooh, Shilajit. Let me just throw it out on the market because it's cool. It's kind of the plant compound of the month or of the year. Or, ooh, look at this. Let me throw out coenzyme Q10. Or look, B12 in the form of methylcobalamin is better than cyanocobalamin. So let me just throw B12 out there.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that. B12 needs to be, whether it's in cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin form, it needs to be with its family of vitamins. You can't just throw Shilajit out there. It has to have other cofactors with it.
Yeah.
When you formulate, it's like making a soup. You don't just make a soup of all garlic because nobody will drink or eat that.
Right.
You have to add the pepper and the cilantro and the oregano and the Celtic salt or the Himalayan salt. You have to add the minerals. You have to add the buffering agents. You can't just put one or two herbs together.
Yeah.
And if you study Dr. John R. Christopher's work, which obviously he has more than I have, in the world of formulating, it's about the blend. You have your primary herbs, your primary ingredients, but you also have to have your supporting and your buffering and your balancing and your blending and all your other factors. Well, there's very few people on this planet that understand that.
Yeah.
And if you look at his formulas, if you look at the formula, this is the third reason. Here's a formula. It has a blend, proprietary blend of turmeric, ginger, rosemary, clove. Now we're talking about parasites, not just inflammation, but parasites.
Yeah.
And Shilajit, cayenne, and black pepper. You're not going to find this formula anywhere else on planet Earth.
Yeah.
He's blending Shilajit with black pepper and cayenne, capsicum, which makes the ingredients, the compounds, and all the other herbs go to the part of the body where they're needed most. And black pepper's making it absorbed 200, 300, 400% better.
Yeah.
But what's being absorbed? The proper blend.
Right.
The blend of turmeric, ginger, rosemary, clove, and Shilajit. That is if I was going to grade that, that is an A++ in the world of formulation.
Yeah.
Most people who are putting products out there
do
not know the proper way to formulate.
Yeah.
This is old school formulating with modern technology.
And what does that particular product benefit that you just...
A lot.
Yeah.
Name the top three.
It supports the joints. It supports the natural inflammatory processes. It supports the removal of parasites and amoebas.
Yeah.
And it supports the heart and the cardiovascular system. I mean, and I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But those would just be the main things.
Yeah.
But my
really
point, and if you look at, my point is that it's been formulated
correctly,
masterfully.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. So that's the second point.
Yeah.
So you've got somebody that you trust. You've got somebody that you've worked with. You've got somebody that knows how to formulate really, really well.
Right.
And then look at this. Other ingredients. Tapioca starch capsule. Nothing else. Now that's clean.
Yeah.
That's as clean as you can get. So you've got somebody fighting with these to get wild harvested and organic herbs.
Yeah.
They're leaving out the dicalcium phosphate, the cross-carmelose sodium. They're leaving out the food shellac, the beetle juice, the glazing, and all the garbage. And they're putting in nothing but GMO-free, organic, wild harvested ingredients. They're mixing them masterfully, and then they're letting the body do the job it's supposed to do. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's my why.
Yeah.
What's your why?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
I mean, I would turn that right back and say, a lot of my clients wanted to know, why would you ever join forces with someone else? Because everything Lindsay was just talking about was the same stuff I had to educate my clients on. Like, you can't have fillers in this, you can't have garbage in this, or my clients would come back and say, I've taken other turmerics, but I feel
Yeah.
a big difference on this one.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I say, well, because it's 40 times more effective than turmeric alone because of the black pepper, because of the shilajit, because of the way I put it together and warmed it up with the ginger, and it goes to all the different areas of the body. My clients understand that over the years. They don't necessarily all know who Lindsay is, though. So they'd say, why would you trust somebody else? And I said, well, if it was anyone else on this planet, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
People wanted me to join forces with them. The day I opened my company, the two people who came in to work with me said, we'll work with you for free if you give us 10% of the company. And I said, no, we've got to find another way.
No, thanks.
And it's not because I don't trust you or like you. It's because if I let anyone else touch this, it will get diluted. It will get changed. It will get cheapened. It will lose its potency, to lose its value. And I'm not willing to do that, because this has to make a difference in people's bodies. I don't just take this. I don't just give this to my loved ones. I give this to people who are sick, who are struggling, who need an answer.
Yeah.
And the biggest, motivation for me in moving my family across here and coming into a company like this is to provide those answers and solutions. I don't care if people choose it or not. They need to have the option, though, because if you have no other options, like the standard line that people would tell me when they came into my practice was, well, you're my last stop. I've seen everyone else. I've seen the physical therapists, the chiropractors, the doctors. I've seen everyone. I've taken a whole bunch of supplements. I don't really have any faith, but, here I am. I'm going to see you because so-and-so said it's going to work.
Yeah.
A month later, they're doing 70, 80% better.
Yep.
They're on track. They're feeling better. They're feeling themselves. That needs to be available.
Yeah.
We're at a pivotal point in the world's global health. We've never had the burden of chronic disease that we currently have. And if people don't have clean, pure options, and they don't have the education to go along with how to use that, they're up against a wall.
Yeah.
They feel helpless. They feel defeated.
Right. Yeah.
And they are.
100%.
But to
100%.
every affliction, and I'd say this to anybody who's listening, if there's something that you're struggling with, if there's something that's afflicting your body, we will eventually provide a solution if we do not already. And that's my motivation.
Yeah.
Here's the option. It's clean. It's affordable. You can get it. You can use it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what's the use of $100 product that's really clean if you can't use it properly?
Correct.
Or if you can't
can
afford
only afford it for 2
Or you
months.
can afford it for 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I got better and now I can't afford it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to use it at clinical doses, at effective doses, and it has to be something that's sustainable for the long term.
Yes.
So that's really what drives me, and the history and the trust that we have. I wouldn't have done this for anybody else.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, and I want you to just speak to this for a second, because you came out, was it April-ish that you guys came, you, Mish,
April,
and
maybe
Addie?
May, yeah.
Yeah.
April.
Your cutest little girl ever. Addie came, came to our office was downtown at that point.
Yep.
Because we've just recently moved, but you guys came out. Never been to Springfield, Ohio.
Nope.
So you guys came. We showed you the office downtown, and then you guys came and took a tour of manufacturing. And then we kind of said, in case you decide to move, my mom, who's a realtor, took you around town. And so, and you guys, I know you, it was a very, you guys prayed about it. You fasted. All these things just to make sure that it was a very obviously serious decision. Cause like Lindsay said, your entire family and heritage is in Salt Lake City, and you're moving to Springfield. You don't know anybody except us.
Yep.
And that's a leap of faith. So
it is.
You must have tremendous faith in Lindsay and All-In and what we're doing here to make that kind of move for your family.
And he saw our manufacturing plant, so he knew.
Exactly.
Because he's done it before, so he's kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah. When you've had to do your own products and then you see somebody have a whole facility that they've poured lots of personal money into and developed, it's a huge difference. But when we left that time, when we came to Ohio, we actually went home and I said, okay, how's this going to work at a distance? Let's make it work, right? Because that's what we had talked about.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I sat and we said, is this something we're going to regret if we don't do it 5 years from now? Because life's full of hard decisions, and anyone who's been through hard things will tell you, don't shy away from it.
Yeah.
Lean into the hard things, lean into the difficult things. And no doubt that was difficult.
Yeah.
Moving my family, my 3 kids, our whole life, closing multiple businesses. I've been a teacher, I've been a practitioner, I've been a formulator, and closing businesses there
Mish
to
had
do
to
it
leave
here.
her job that she
my wife
loves.
had to leave her job,
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
But we came to the conclusion, like, these are people we trust. This is a mission and a vision we can get behind.
Yeah.
You guys are not doing this just for profit. That would be silly, right?
It's actually
For
not.
anyone who knows the background of the company.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's not that. You're doing it for people.
Yes.
You're doing it to make a difference and impact in the world.
Right.
And that, beyond anything else, is what we took home
Yeah.
and we sat with and we said, gosh, we need to do this.
Yeah.
We need
I think
to be a
you
part
guys
of this.
really understood kind of our mission, because it's not, I mean, we have so much, there's no investors here. It's
No.
just our personal contribution, which has been a lot.
And we've
Significant.
never paid ourselves a
And
penny.
we
Never been
haven't.
on payroll.
Yeah.
Never even been a consultant. Nothing.
And it's been hard. It's been harder than
Yep.
we thought, than we anticipated. There's been times where we've been like,
course.
whoo, do we really want to keep going? But
Yep.
I think there's a huge difference when you are mission driven and purpose driven
Yeah.
versus
Yep.
dollar driven.
Yep.
And I think that is
It's
a
a whole
huge
different
difference
world.
between like these, Agapē, All-In,
Yep.
even Tattoos and Revive, compared to a lot of brands out there. We are not in it to make the dollar. I mean, do we want the companies to be profitable and succeed? Obviously,
Yeah.
It
means you're helping people.
It's not why we're coming into the office every single day, So, and it's not why we started it, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think you and Mish absolutely understood that and got on board with that. And I think that spoke to you guys for sure. And I have to say, she is like the most sweet, supportive,
Yeah.
I mean, genuine.
Obviously,
We walked away and we were just like, she's like so genuinely nice.
And
you
she's
know?
so level.
Yeah.
So smart and so level.
Yeah. Yeah. So you definitely
Straight
got
shooter.
Yep.
a good support system at home
Yeah.
for sure.
In a nice way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about a little bit, like, what are you guys most excited about now that, I mean, you've had a very full plate. You still do have a very full plate with formulating and everything.
It's getting ready to get more full. With
I was going to
Weston.
say, is it getting any better? I don't know. But what are we most excited with about Weston on board? And I just want to say a little bit, because I sat in on a formulation meeting yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was just really cool to kind of sit back and observe the two of you, because you kind of just feed off of each other's knowledge. And it's kind of like, well, hey, what about this? Well, yeah, let's tweak this a little bit. And it's totally a recipe that you guys are doing, but you're cooking very well in the kitchen together. And I thought that was very cool to see.
And when we talked after the meeting, do you remember what I said to you?
Which part?
I said he's done. I said he's read the
Oh, yeah,
clinical
he's
trials.
done his homework. Exactly.
I said he's read the clinical trials, and I said he's clearly focused on the dosing
Yep.
and the amount of the clinicals to
Right.
make sure that they are at or above
Yeah.
in the formulas.
Yeah.
Yeah. they got
And that's what I was looking for. I was looking, is he looking at historical, which he is, or is he looking at the actual clinicals
Yeah.
and the mechanisms of action?
Yeah.
And that's what I was very happy with.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I thought it
I mean,
was-
we're cooking up some really, really good soups right now. I'm excited about Agapē.
Yeah.
And I'm also excited about the new products that we're working on for both Agapē and for All-In Nutritionals.
Yeah.
But as an example, if you just take, I mean, people should know about these products. If you take the resistance product that Agapē has, the first ingredient is myrrh. Well, most people don't even know what myrrh is, or that you can ingest myrrh. And I would just challenge anybody to just type in myrrh and schistosomiasis. People don't even know what that
I don't
condition
know
is.
what those are.
But just
No.
type it in, myrrh's effect on schistosomiasis,
Okay.
and just read the National Institute of Health summary of clinical trials, and it's just fascinating. Now, I say that because it shows how deep Weston is going and how deep we're going with some of these ingredients. But just this formula, simple formula, but so powerful, has myrrh, thyme, marshmallow, isatis,
Isatis.
elderberry, garlic, ginger, and cayenne. You're not going to find that formula anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
That is a very strong formula.
Yeah.
The other thing that is exciting to me is that almost 80% of the formulas have anti-parasitic ingredients in them. And maybe 90% have anti-parasitic ingredients.
Yeah.
Now, in
Which
my
is
last
so smart. Yeah.
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And in my last company, which was massive, I stood up on stage for hours, and what would I talk about?
Parasites.
Parasites.
But you were also told not to talk about parasites.
And the-
we
and
won't
the-
go down that road.
The shareholders and the board and the other individuals, the executives said,
Yeah.
Lindsay, you should be up there selling 1,800 packs or 1,500 packs. and not talking about parasites. Why are you talking about parasites? And I'm like, well, because they're killing people.
Yeah.
They're robbing people of nutrients.
People don't even know that they have parasites.
And
when they
everybody
do.
has parasites.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to give people
Yeah.
the information to get healthy.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Yeah.
talk about that. Let's just stay focused on products.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is not who I am.
Right.
I'm going to talk about the issues that are affecting humanity. Parasites is one of them.
Right.
Gut microbiome is one of them.
Yeah.
Lack of nutrition is one of them. Acidity is one of them.
Yeah.
Lack of oxygen in the cells and tissues is one of them. Those are the things that we're working on. Those are the things that we will continue to work on. And those are the things that this great brand is working on. Look
Yeah.
at the first ingredient in the Gut Love product, plantain leaf. Research it. Look it up
Really?
online.
Okay.
Plantain leaf all day long.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, because these. Okay, now I'm interested. Now, what's myrrh though? You can't just like throw that out. What is myrrh, and what is the thing that you mentioned?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
the historical perspective of myrrh is really interesting, right? Because a lot of people have heard about myrrh because it's in the Bible,
I was gonna say.
right?
is
One of the
Jesus
gifts
myrrh?
that they
Yeah.
brought Christ
Yeah.
was myrrh.
Myrrh, yeah.
Why?
Why would they bring Christ myrrh?
Myrrh.
Why
Pretty
was it
good.
one of the most valued compounds on the planet?
On the whole planet.
Up there
Wow.
with gold and
Yeah.
frankincense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can get it for $20 or $30 a bottle, and no one has it, no one uses it.
Yeah.
What in the world
And
are we
no
missing?
one understands it.
No one understands
And
it.
there-
It
and
should
in-
be in every cabinet in every household.
And
Really?
in little
Okay.
parts
America.
of the world, they're doing clinical research on myrrh, and
Yeah.
all the clinical research is mind-boggling positive.
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't find negative things on
And
myrrh.
he's got it as the first ingredient,
Yeah.
the dominant, the primary ingredient, what we call the chief ingredient in this formula. This is an incredible formula, and you can't find it anywhere. So it's very natural for me to look at the products, look at the formulas, look at the man, look at the trust, look at the family, and say, you know what? You are welcome to be
Yeah.
a part of this family, to be
Yeah.
an owner, have ownership in the company, and to paint your picture on your canvas here at All-In Nutritionals. And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
A lot of these products, Agapē Herbals has 6 products. All-In Nutritionals has 35
Well,
products.
35, yeah.
So that tells you one of the reasons why I was motivated to come is the acceleration of
Oh,
getting
yeah.
things that have been in my brain for
Yes.
a long time out into the world quickly.
Yeah.
But really, the foundational 6 products of Agapē is the things that when people would come to me, regardless of what they were dealing with, autoimmune, heart disease, major inflammatory conditions, I said, we need to address a couple of things here.
Yeah.
We need to address the bowels. We need to clear the body of yeast, of parasites. We need to get inflammation down. That's basically what these
Yeah.
products are.
That's kind of your
And my
foundation.
original marketing team's like, yeast and parasites. Can't you come out with something sexier? Can't
Yeah.
you come out with an energy product?
not
or something
trending.
that's
Yeah.
easy to sell.
Yeah.
How do we market yeast and parasites?
Where's
I
your
said,
greens product?
Yeah, exactly. I said, well, in time, but this is the foundation. You
Yeah.
have to lay a foundation with
Yeah.
people. You
Yeah.
got to get their bowels moving. You got to get them assimilating better. So that's really the heart of what these
Yes.
initial products are.
Yeah.
Is establishing a baseline with people
Makes sense.
due to the pollution in the world, due to all the things that are coming at us from everywhere.
Yeah.
So for me, when you're in private practice, we would often call it like a lone wolf howling at the moon. You know, you don't realize there's other wolves around until there's a meetup or until there's a continuing education conference. And so I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled to be working aside Lindsay, the team, to learn and develop my skills further. But also there's a big synergy when you get people who are really on the same page together and really believe in the same purpose and the mission together. There's a synergy that will transcend us.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm excited about, is because I've spent a majority of my career not having as big of an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, whenever you can join forces, you can get more accomplished, more done.
It's
you know,
needed.
And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about this. This is really interesting because you look at this product here. It's called Microbe Balance. So microbiological, the microbes in the body.
That's
in the
the
gut.
sexy yeast and parasite.
Right. and then he's calling it balance. So, but it says supports flushing, cleansing, and flourishing. Now think about that: flushing, cleansing, and flourishing.
Yeah.
He doesn't use probiotics, which is interesting. He uses black walnut, which is anti-yeast, antifungal, anti-parasitic; Padiarco, anti-yeast, antifungal, anti-parasitic; olive leaf, antiviral, anti-yeast, antifungal, anti-parasitic; black cumin seed, oregano, and burdock and wormwood. He's not saying I'm going to give you a bunch of probiotics. He's saying I'm going to clear the whole entire digestive tract. First, step number one, we can get the good microbiome from kefir, from anything, from diet, from fermented foods.
Right.
But he's going after the core. That's a brilliant formula.
Clean it out
That's
first.
another example of a really, really well-constructed formula.
Yeah. And I would see people come in all the time that had cleansed yeast, and then it was back in their system. And I said, well, you didn't get it out of your body, though. So it's important when you're cleansing yeast, move the bowels, clear it out of the bloodstream, give the liver support. So there's compounds in there and these other formulas that's the art of formulation, is not just what are we aiming at, but how are we removing it out of the body? How are we addressing the person as a whole? And if they're already compromised to begin with, you have to lend support to those other channels, those other systems.
So the philosophy of cleansing the body, building up the nutrient levels in the body, and then balancing the body chemistry, whether it's the hormones, which is what Megan does so well, or whether it's the pH of the body, or whether it's just the chemistry in general. His philosophy and my philosophy for the past 38 years is in alignment. So and then I think when he took a tour of, I want you to talk about your first tour of our manufacturing plant. You know, he said to me, I can see my ideas coming to fruition much quicker, much faster here. And I want you to talk about what that manufacturing plant that we've built, what it looks like, what it feels like, what's inside there.
Expanding.
Expanding to an entire new building.
If you look at what a lot of companies are doing, a lot of companies might make something that, like you said, is trending or popular, or maybe they go a step beyond that and they've researched it a little bit. But then they just send it off to a manufacturing facility. And you take my anti-inflammatory formula that you talked about, I sent that off to 5 or 6 different manufacturing facilities. They didn't even know what I was talking about. They sent back extracts and isolations and what's the Shilajit stuff? We can just put some fulvic acid in there if you want or whatever. And I said, oh my gosh, they don't understand. So when I toured his facility and All-In's facility, there's a huge difference of having it next door. I can be from my office to the manufacturing facility in 150 steps. And we can take something, whether it be liquid, powder, capsule, and control all the variables. Control it, put it together in the highest quality. And that facility's spotless. That facility's clean. It goes through multiple stages of sanitization that nobody's doing, because there's a basic standard, and then there's the standard that you guys are operating at, which nobody does, because nobody has the understanding as to why. How do you clean the water? How do you clean the air? How do you clean every component of the bottle, the cap?
Multiple times
in multiple ways. Nobody's doing that. And I was only doing that in a partial way beforehand
Yeah.
because I knew the importance of it.
Yeah.
Then I saw the bigger production.
Yeah. How many manufacturing plants have you gone into where they use food grade hydrogen peroxide for for cleaning their equipment,
Yeah.
their tools, and everything that touches the product?
One.
Yeah.
How many
Way to start.
manufacturing
Yeah.
plants have you walked into that at 2 a.m, every single morning at 2 o'clock, automatically ozonate the air, which kills any microbiological contamination that's airborne?
None other
Yeah.
than this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could go
And I walk
on.
through a bunch of plants, by the
Yeah.
way, and I
Yeah.
look through a bunch of facilities, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people will get certain things right. There's no one that's getting everything right.
Well, and I
except for
think,
here.
we kind of went through the same process. I remember you calling manufacturers and people that you had past relationships with, and it just, nobody was going to do it to the standard that he wanted it done. And it was like, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. And so I think,
Just bought machines and did it ourselves.
yeah, I mean,
set it up
this is
ourselves.
not easy over here.
It's very
and
hard.
It's a huge investment, and it's a lot of learning, and it's a big process. But I think because the standard and the bar was so high, there was no other way to do it. So
which is the same challenges I
yeah,
ran into starting my company. So
exactly.
similar
So tell
background.
me, before we close it out, a few products. Can we tell a few products that we have coming down the pike? Because
Yeah.
the one yesterday we were talking about,
Oh, yeah.
I think is pretty exciting. I mean, I think
Sure.
it's going to be just life-changing for so many people.
Yeah.
So what we were working on yesterday and every day is a 3-phase autism support program.
Yeah.
And
I think this is awesome.
It's very deep. It's very intense. It's amazing. I don't know. I would say that the combined ingredients in the 3-phase autism support program have over 150 combined clinical trials. Is that a
Yeah.
fair statement?
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd say over 150 combined clinical trials on the ingredients that we are at right now.
Yeah.
And we haven't finalized it yet, but I'd say we're 90%, 92, 93% complete on this formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found it fascinating yesterday listening to you guys because, you were both talking about, well, children with autism, their, this area in their body is weak, or their gut microbiome is off in this way. So these are the herbs and ingredients we need to include to hit these. Like, there was such a deep understanding of what an autistic child is facing and kind of where those weaknesses are. And so I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Amazing. What's some other ones? There's another one that I'm super excited about. I know you are too, because selfishly. Yeah.
Selfishly.
I'm like, when is that going to be done? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have kids, and so one of the things we're developing is definitely a full kids line. But one of the
Yes.
first things we're going to be bringing out is a kids multi, and it's going to be like no other kids multi out there. In fact,
Not your
I don't.
everyday gummy.
Yeah,
No.
I actually don't even give my kids a multi right now because nothing on the market meets my criteria of cleanliness and purity.
Wow.
So I source multiple different ingredients from multiple different ways, and my kids know to kind of line up and droppers of different stuff
Yeah.
and sprays, and we stick
Yeah.
it in their food and everything.
And
Yeah.
it takes
But-
20 minutes. And,
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
But they love it. And so I'm really excited for not only my own kids, but a big focus in my practice has always been working with kids.
Yeah.
From infants all the way up through the life cycle. And when you sat with children that are struggling, and when you've sat with children that really need support, and then you give it to them, you're impacting the most important thing, which is
Yeah.
that next generation.
Absolutely.
And we're bringing people up. So I'm super excited. We're going to have a kids multi. It's going to go along with a lot of the other things we're doing.
Brain development.
We're going to have
all those
cold and
things.
flu
Yeah.
things that come
For
out
kids,
very
for children,
quickly. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think the key, really the difficulty with the kids formula, the kids multivitamin, is it has to taste good.
Yes.
It can't taste horrible, or the child will repel from it.
Right.
But it has to taste good, but it can't be loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're just feeding the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Exactly.
But then you also have to make sure that you're dealing with a developing body. That body is developing and growing. It needs certain nutrients.
Yeah.
It needs B vitamins. It needs protein. It needs fat. the brain and the central nervous system must have the fat in
Right.
order to grow and develop.
Yeah.
So all of these things we're taking into extreme consideration.
Yeah.
They're going in the formula, and then the formula has to taste good. So it's a tall order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't
And
wait.
it's expensive to do it in the right way,
Yeah.
in all honesty, because we're not just sourcing random vitamins.
No.
We're sourcing everything from
Yeah.
food, from high quality.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be like nothing else.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be
Truly.
bioavailable.
Yeah.
The child's body is going to digest, absorb, and assimilate 100% of the formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Yep.
So
Me
in
too.
closing, where can people kind of expect to see Weston? What's he going to be doing? Is he going to be on the website? Is he going to be educating?
So
Where
he-
can they see him?
So everywhere.
Okay.
So everywhere you see me, you'll see Weston. You'll see him training. You'll see him answering health questions. You'll see him formulating. You'll see him explaining and teaching the formulations. You'll see him on all social media, even our TikTok channel. You'll see him on Facebook, Instagram. You'll see him mostly, I would say, if I had to pick where will he be seen mostly, it would be YouTube, our YouTube channel. So if you're not, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube
Yeah.
channel, you have to
Make
do
sure
it.
you do so.
It's
Right.
you'll have a lesson in nutrition and ingredients and in formulating and in
Yeah.
supplementation and in how to really take supplements.
Yeah.
So you'll see him in all those areas, and he's going to be working hand in hand with me to develop All-In Nutritional products, but also to develop Agapē Herbal products
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love everything that's like organically happening here and, like,
Right.
with all three companies because
Yeah, we're not forcing anything.
Yeah, Weston's on board now. We've got Megan Miller, who specializes in hormones. We've got Alexis Foreman,
It's amazing.
who's our fitness
Both
person.
ladies are just
it's like
powerhouses.
Every element of health and wellness we are checking.
Checking.
And it's like you said, we're not forcing it. We're not going out and looking for these people.
Right.
It's just organically,
Yeah.
coming into fruition. So I think it's
And if you-
obviously meant to be.
Meant to be.
And if you fast forward, 5 years from now,
Yes.
this I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But it will be a one-stop shop for anything and everything health related.
Right.
Whether it's the eyes or the hair or the water or it doesn't matter. We will be a solution for people who need to learn and need change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it was a plethora of information. I think it's, people hopefully understand who you are now a little bit more. And I'm super excited to see your role. And I'm really happy to have you a part of the family, as I know Lindsay is. So
Thank you.
And we're going to put Weston's Facebook page and some of his social media,
Yeah,
so
people
you
can
can
follow
follow him, and also we'll put ours as well. So if you want to hear more of this great type of information, it'll be right at the bottom of the screen. Welcome to the family, my friend.
I appreciate it. Happy to be here, and we're going to dig in right away.
Let's do it.